Welcome, it's Kevin Sudbeck, Chief Safety Officer for S3 Consultants. And what we're going to discuss today is kind of an introduction to bloodborne pathogens and how it relates to aviation safety, because this is one of the three criteria or three OSHA standards that is allowed per the 2014 MOU between the FAA and OSHA. This applies when the aircraft is in operation and applies for everything behind the cockpit or the tube. For both any type of flight attendant or any person that works for you, a maintenance guy riding in the back, a cabin crew member of some type, no matter how they're designated, flight attendant. So what we'll do is introduce you to this concept, and then you'll have to go deeper into it. It's one of the more complex OSHA standards, this one in HAZCOM. On the agenda slide, we'll just give you a heads up on what we'll cover. And again, it's just an introduction. You're not going to get a full understanding of the program from this because again, the reason the OSHA standards are written vaguely is that you have to analyze how you operate, and that way you can write a bloodborne pathogen program to meet the requirements of your operation or your business. Next slide. Just touching on the OSHA FAA Memorandum of Understanding again, 2014. This addresses these three standards when the aircraft is in operation: HAZCOM, bloodborne pathogen, and occupational noise exposure. Next slide. So bloodborne pathogens, whenever something occurs in the aircraft behind the flight deck, when an employee has to interact with somebody or something contaminated by blood or any other bodily fluids. For example, you have a passenger that throws up, or you have a passenger that for some reason cuts themselves in the plane. We're not going to address medevac. Those people, the nurse, the EMT, are thoroughly trained on this. This is more for sole operators, whether you're a commercial air tour operator or a Part 135, and now you're having to deal with some type of vomit or bodily fluid or blood in your passenger area. So when can employees be exposed to bloodborne pathogens? First aid, restroom sanitation, cleaning up surfaces after an incident, like I said, throwing up or somehow cutting their body part on a piece of the aircraft and now you have blood in the cockpit, or medical needles of some type. Somebody for some reason has their syringes for their something, some medical requirement. So this is when you'll have to deal with it, and this is an awareness piece. We're not going to dive in how to do the program because, again, each operation is different, so you have to address it for your operation. Moving on to the next slide. So the elements of the program include exposure mitigation, treat all blood and bodily fluids as potentially infectious. This is a fundamental requirement of the bloodborne pathogen safety program. And then proper PPE when handling these fluids, and that's always going to involve some type of nitrile glove, possibly a mask, some type of eye protection, possibly. It just depends on what the issue is and how you operate your aircraft. Personal protective equipment, as I named a couple of them. Contamination cleanup and disposal, that's the big thing. And then employee training. This is one of the standards where after the training is completed, they do have to take some type of test to show that they've acquired the knowledge. And a lot of people just tag on a 10-question test at the end where you got to get a 70 or 80 to pass. Of course, employee training, maintain the records for the required amount of time, probably no less than 24 months. And then have a written bloodborne pathogen program that is separate from your GOM or GMM. So even though it impacts your aircraft during operation, you may touch on a little bit in your GOM, but then you have to have a separate program. So that's just a quick down and dirty introduction. We're not going to cover how to do these things. Each aircraft is different. Each company's operation is different. So you have to look at what you're doing with your company before you can determine mitigations, safety controls, eliminating hazards with your operation as it with respect to bloodborne pathogen. But you have to cover all the steps from exposure through contamination cleanup to post-exposure evaluation and how you're going to dispose of this, because you just can't throw it in the trash. The employees who are going to deal with this need proper tools and training to protect themselves from exposure, and always wash your hands even after PPE was worn. makes sense. And if you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments section. And if you want to set up a program, contact us. We have people who do this who are subject matter experts that are competent, that have taken the training, passed the tests, and are considered competent by OSHA. That's the real definition there. And allow us to help make your system safer. And this is Kevin Sebek with S3. Let us know if you need any help.